Hello everyone. Today I am with Sriram Somayajula. He is a CA, CFA and a faculty for CFA.
I am good, Prashant. Thanks a lot for having me in your podcast. Wonderful to be here.
To ask you, how did you got into CFA while doing MBA?
Yeah. So, in fact, one of the things that I did when doing MBA was CFA, and the reason was twofold. One, I wanted to make a career in core finance. So, I wanted to be an investment banker or somebody working in the stock market.
Suppose as a person who has done only CFA, not any other course, how would you compare CFA with the other financial courses available in India or maybe globally? What skills do you think are necessary before you even put a foot in a CFA course?
So I don't think that there are any specific skill sets, but I think it's more an attitude thing that is required.
तो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू कि आप CFA के स्ट्रक्चर को थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करो कि व्हाट इज़ द एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया, आगे एग्जाम सब्जेक्ट्स कौन कौन से कवर होते हैं एंड क्या पासिंग परसेंटेज है, एंड जब कोई स्टूडेंट एक लेवल से दूसरे लेवल जैसे जैसे बढ़ता है, व्हाट इज़ हिज माइंडसेट एंड हाउ डज ही compare himself when he moves from one level to another. Second question would be कि what is the structure of the course? What subjects do we study in CFA?
हाँ जी, तो in CFA ना, so there are 3 levels and each level has very same subjects. In fact, level 1 and 2 have 10 subjects each. So
one additional question, Sriram, before we move ahead. What pathway of the 3 ways you mentioned would be suitable when an Indian student is going to choose?
My suggestion would be, rather than looking at it from perspective of which pathway will probably give you best results, I would rather suggest that understand about each pathway slightly better. See, portfolio management is all about where you work in a mutual fund or some kind of a family fund or something like that. Private markets is largely about your PE, VC. Where there is private transactions and stuff like that. Private wealth is purely your wealth management kind of a thing, where it is probably some amount of HNI, some amount of family offices and all of that.
So agree. So you mentioned that the passing percentage is around 45 to 50% on all the levels.
Correct.
But when we talk about CA, the passing percentage comes very low.
Yes.
So should we say that CFA is easier than CA?
No, so I actually would slightly beg to differ there.
I would ask you कि scholarship का कैसा scheme रहता है उनका, and I would like to talk to you about essay कि जो वो लोग essay लिखने को बोलते हैं, what things should be included in that.
Sure. So first thing is, see, I would slightly tend to disagree with the cost of the course because, see, I'll tell you what is the overall cost of the course. Let's assume that you don't get any scholarship. Let's assume that you take coaching for all 3 levels. The overall cost of the course is roughly about 4.5 to 5 lakhs. So essay ना दो essay लिखने होते हैं. So till previous year, I think till before September 23, it was only 1 essay. But I think from September 23, they changed it. Now they want you to write 2 essays.
Next, we would move to job and packages कि as a CFA, अगर कोई undergrad है जिसने CFA ही किया है खाली, तो what kind of jobs will he be expected to get and what are the minimum packages to start and कहाँ तक जा सकता है? ऐसे तो लिमिट नहीं है, बट कहाँ तक जा सकता है? Is there any internship requirement from CFA? I think we have covered all the angles that can be covered.
Sure.
So last question which I would like to ask you is, besides CFA, what other courses do you think people can do who want to enter the finance industry and that are affordable and are also widely accepted? Hello everyone. Today I am with Sriram Somayajula. He is a CA, CFA and a faculty for CFA. Hello Sriram, how are you?
I am good, Prashant. Thanks a lot for having me in your podcast. Wonderful to be here.
Let's start our discussion. Sriram, please introduce yourself.
Sure, Prashant. So, Prashant, I qualified my CA in 2003. After that, I did my MBA or equivalent to MBA from ISB in Hyderabad. And as I was pursuing my postgraduate program in ISB, I also started doing CFA. So, after my MBA, I got a job in a equity research firm in Mumbai. So worked there for a few years. Then I moved to a large fertilizer company in Hyderabad called Coromandel. There I worked for about 5 odd years. Then I worked in a startup as a CFO. And then for the last 7, 8 years, I've been working, I founded a company called IndigoLearn, where we teach students of CA, CFA, ACCA, CMA India, all of them online through our app as well as website, and we provided animated content. We provide the full set of coaching, whatever is required for students to succeed in the exams. So that's a brief introduction about me.
Okay. So I would like to ask you, how did you got into CFA while doing MBA?
Yeah. So, in fact, one of the things that I did when doing MBA was CFA, and the reason was twofold. One, I wanted to make a career in core finance. So, I wanted to be an investment banker or somebody working in the stock markets. And even though I was doing an MBA from a top tier B school, I felt that I will have additional advantage. Even though despite being a CA already, and doing MBA, I felt that I'll have additional advantage to get into a top tier investment bank, which is why I started pursuing CFA. So I finished my level 1 of CFA while I was in B school. So along with B school, I studied my level 1 MBA, level 1 CFA. And after I finished my first 1 year of MBA, then I did my level 2 of CFA. And it was pretty useful. In fact, the first job that I got post campus or in the campus placement was because of the fact that I also had my CFA level 1 pass and I was writing my level 2 exams. The recruiter very clearly told me this basically signals to me that you're very interested in the financial markets, so which is why we have chosen to go ahead with you. So that is the broad reason why I chose to pursue CFA while I was doing my MBA.
Okay. So suppose as a person who has done only CFA, not any other course, how would you compare CFA with the other financial courses available in India or maybe globally?
Oh, so CFA is a very deep and a course that gives you a lot of expertise. So if you're not done an MBA or let's say a CA and you're just a graduate, you can be a BCom, BBA or BFM or even engineering graduate, and you're doing CFA, it gives you an entry into the field of finance. So and it is one course where the course is very deep. You are tested thoroughly on concepts, and you get you shouldn't study this course for passing exams. That's my opinion, especially CFA, because you're already past this academic 20 by the time you're doing CFA, you're already 21, 22 or whatever, or around 20s. You should not study this course for passing exams. You should study this course for understanding the subject, loving the subject, and making a career. If you do that, then this is the course that will really help you get to your dream job in finance domain. And comparing to MBA, this is a MBA gives you a lot more other skills. You get the skills of marketing or people management, teamwork, communication and all of that. Whereas, and of course finance if you're doing MBA in finance. But even then, I would tend to believe that CFA will give you far greater intellectual or either academic rigor with respect to finance than a normal MBA would do or even a CA would do.
Okay. So what skills do you think are necessary before you even put a foot in a CFA course?
So I don't think that there are any specific skill sets, but I think it's more an attitude thing that is required. So I believe that you should be, you need not be an extraordinarily, bright in your academics and all of that. A normal average student can do CFA, but you need to have the attitude that, I'm not scared of math because almost entire stuff is around math. Right. It is not very advanced PhD math or anything like that. It is basic, simple math. You cannot say that, I can't multiply, I can't add, I can't understand present value, I can't understand future value. Basic derivatives, differentiation, integration, very, very basic stuff. If you have a flair for all of this, and most importantly, you should have a flair for something to do in the financial markets. My strong suggestion, if you want to make a career in some other domain, obviously you shouldn't be doing CFA. But if your, core area of interest in your career lies in investment banking, M&A, PE, VC, valuations, or commercial banking, interest rates, debt, or foreign exchange markets, things like this, right? Then CFA is the course that is most preferred. And my suggestion would always be have this career orientation in mind rather than a skill set requirement in mind, because you will definitely learn all the skills that you require as part of your CFA curriculum or after CFA or wherever. You will learn all of them. But if you have the right attitude that I'm going there to willing to learn, keen to explore, keen to understand the financial ecosystem, then that is more than sufficient for anyone to take up CFA.
ओके, सो अब स्टार्ट करते हैं थोड़ा सीएफए के बारे में. लेट्स डिस्कस दैट इन डिटेल. तो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू कि आप सीएफए के स्ट्रक्चर को थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करो कि व्हाट इज़ द एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया, आगे एग्जाम सब्जेक्ट्स कौन कौन से कवर होते हैं, एंड क्या पासिंग परसेंटेज है. एज मच एज आई नो देर आर 3 लेवल्स इन सीएफए, तो व्हाट इज़ द पासिंग परसेंटेज, एंड जब कोई स्टूडेंट एक लेवल से दूसरे लेवल जैसे जैसे बढ़ता है, what is his mindset and how does he you know compare himself when he moves from one level to another.
Sure, sure. Very good question. So first point is what are the criteria for somebody to get into CFA? So now the CFA Institute is now permitting even students who are doing undergraduation. Okay, so doing undergraduation, and here undergraduation need not necessarily mean from a regular college, can be from a distance or IGNOU or whatever, right? So if you are pursuing undergraduation, you can take up CFA. You have completed graduation, you can take up CFA. I know a third kind of people who don't do graduation but do professional degree. I know a lot of students who pursue CA without doing any undergraduation like BCom. For them also there is a way out. Now if you are doing, let's look at the first one, that is you are pursuing undergraduation in a regular college or distance or whatever. In your year 2 of BCom or BBA, you can write level 1. You can write level 1 exams only in year 2, or you cannot write them before year 2. Okay, let me put it that way. You cannot write them before year 2, right, of BCom BBA. That is one way. And once you complete level 1 in year 2, you can write level 2 in year 3, okay, year 3 of your undergraduation. This is first way. Second way is you have already completed undergrad, that is you have finished your undergraduation, you have some other degree, you don't have a degree, it doesn't matter, but you have finished undergraduation, you are eligible to take up CFA level 1 exam. Right. Then third way is where you don't have a degree at all. I mean, let's say you're a CA who did not do BCom or BBA or anything like that. Then in that case, you should, you have to show 3 years of work experience. Now, this 3 years of work experience can be anything. Okay, this 3 years of work experience, you have to show that, saying that, I've worked somewhere for 3 years, for 4,000 hours, and this is the amount of, this is the kind of work that I've done. Now, will articleship count as this experience? Yes, absolutely. But now articleship is reduced to 2 years. So only 2 years will be counted. You have to do additional 1 more year of work somewhere else. If you do not have it, see, this is a specific criteria. You are a CA or a CMA, you do not have any undergraduate degree, and you have finished 2 years of articleship, then you necessarily need to work somewhere for 1 more year for you to become eligible to take CFA level 1 exam. Right. Now, just because you have a CA qualification, you have already become a CA, that does not necessarily mean that you are eligible to write CFA level 1 exam. You need to have either an undergraduate degree or pursuing undergraduation, or have 3 years of work experience of 4,000 hours, before you take up the CFA level 1 exam. So this is the answer to the first question. Am I clear there?
Yes.
Yes. Now, the second question what you asked was what?
Second question would be what is the structure of the course? What subjects do we study in CFA?
Hanji. So in CFA there are 3 levels, and each level has very same subjects. In fact, level 1 and 2 have 10 subjects each. So unlike, let's say, your BCom, BBA or CA or any other course that you do, most of these international professional courses basically have test you on all subjects at same time. So CFA exams, you have a morning session and evening session. Morning session roughly about 2.5 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes, and evening session also 2.5 or 2 hours 15 minutes. You are tested on all 10 topics or 10 subjects, right? They are called topics in CFA. There are 10 topics that are there which are tested in this both sessions together. So you are asked a question on accounting as well as asked a question on derivatives and options and futures at the same time in the same exam. Right, or portfolio management or fixed income. So everything is combined together and asked. Now these first level, and second level have 10 topics or 10 subjects. These are financial statement analysis, quantitative techniques, economics, ethics, fixed income, alternative investments, portfolio management, derivatives, and then you have corporate investments and corporate issuers and equity investments. So these are the 10 topics that you are tested on in level 1 and level 2. Level 1 exams are, all 3 levels by the way are MCQ exams, but In level 1, it is simple MCQs. In level 2, you have case study based MCQs. In level 3, you have case study based MCQs plus you also have some essay type questions. So basically you have to type. And by the way, all CFA exams are computer center based. You have to go to a computer center, you have to book a slot, and you have to go there and write the test. Right. So this is how exams are structured. Level 1 and level 2 have same 10 topics, whereas level 3 you have about a few of these topics which are there in level 1 and level 2 are not continued in level 3, things like your quant and other stuff, but there are only about 7 topics. And in addition, in level 3, you also get a chance to specialize. You have a CFA Institute from last year, or rather from the year 2024, has introduced a new specialization concept. That is, in level 3, you can choose where you want to specialize. You can be a specialization. It's called pathway, PATHWAY. It's called a pathway. You can choose a pathway, either private wealth or portfolio management or private markets. So you can choose what is your area of specialization and you can specialize in that. So this is the broad structure. And the next question that you had asked is, what is the pass percentage? So typically, right, so typically what happens is the pass percentage is around close to around 40. Sometimes it is slightly below 40, sometimes it is above 40, but thereabouts. So in fact, CFA level 1 results came about just yesterday, and the pass percentage is roughly about 45-46%. So your level 1 pass percentage is close to 40, level 2 is slightly higher, level 3 is slightly better. So it slightly improves, and again, it is not wildly different, 40, 45, 48, something like that, broadly in that range. Between 40 and 48 is the broad range in which you have level 1, level 2 and level 3 pass percentages. I hope I have answered your query.
One additional question, Sriram, before we move ahead. What pathway of the three ways you mentioned would be suitable when an Indian student is going to choose?
So my suggestion would be, rather than looking at it from perspective of which pathway will probably give you best results, I would rather suggest that understand about each pathway slightly better. See, portfolio management is all about where you work in a mutual fund or some kind of a family fund or something like that, where you are managing a large portfolio of assets. So if you are interested in that kind of work, then choose portfolio management. Private markets is largely about your PE, VC, where there is private transactions and stuff like that. If you want to make your career in that direction, then obviously choose that. And private wealth is purely your wealth management kind of a thing, where it is probably some amount of HNI, some amount of family offices and all of that. So it depends on you where you want to make your career. From an India perspective, all three are actually expected to grow very well. Okay, so no matter which way you go, PE firms are expected to do well over the next 5-10 years. VC firms are already doing well. They're expected to do well. Wealth management as a business is growing. Then mutual funds, AUM is growing at phenomenal pace. So if you honestly ask me, right, from a growth perspective, all three of them, or rather all three pathways, provide you adequate avenues for a career growth or development, and even from a monetary perspective as well. So it really depends on where you want to make your career, and that is what you should choose, rather than going by probably what may work well, may not work well in future, because nobody ever has a clue as to which one will work well in the future, 5 years or 10 years down the line.
Agreed. So you mentioned that the passing percentage is around 45 to 50% on
Correct.
all the levels.
Correct.
But when we talk about CA, the
Mm.
passing percentage comes very low.
Yes.
So should we say कि CFA is easier than CA?
No, so I actually would slightly beg to differ there. See, what happens is there are a lot of CA students, by the way, who people who have passed in first attempt or so, who don't manage to clear CFA. Okay, the reason is because CFA is testing you more on the core concepts, and what CFA does is that it gets into multiple subjects, multiple topics at the same time. Now, there are some people, who would, probably not succeed in CA but succeed in CFA, or other way around, who would succeed in CA but not succeed in CFA. But having said all of those, the expectation from a CFA level 1 pass or expectation from a CA are wildly different. Expectation from a CFA level 1 or level 2 pass for that matter is that they have an understanding of all the subjects, whereas from a CA final pass student or a qualified chartered accountant, the expectation is of expertise. That is not necessarily the case with someone who's a all-level CFA pass also. They don't expect expertise because they believe that expertise comes with practice. They are teaching you stuff. And most of the people who take up CFA, right, they are either just finished graduation or in graduation, or a lot of them are already working professionals. So, if you a very even further simple comparison of both, right? If you ask any CA student how many hours they studied for CA Inter, my guess is they would say 500 hours, 1000 hours, 1500 hours, at the most 1500, right? I don't think anyone would say beyond 1500, correct? Would you agree with me on that, CA Intermediate, right? Whereas for CFA level 1, level 2 or level 3, the institute themselves says you require 300 odd hours to study, that's all. So if you study for 300, and we suggest that 300 is too conservative, probably make it 400. 300 to 400 hours of preparation is sufficient for each level, because the way you are tested is very different compared to the way you are tested in CA. In CA, you are required to make complete detailed answers, solutions and all, write step by step. There are step by step marking and all of that. Whereas CFA first 2 levels are largely MCQs. And CFA level 3 is also, significant portion of it is MCQs. So you actually have a choice where, and there are 3 options typically, not 4 options. So if you can basically do elimination and then probably choose the right answer. There are ways and means around it. But you can't go randomly putting numbers and expect that you'll pass. That will definitely not happen. So I would tend to disagree that this is easier than that. I would tend to believe that people who are CFA prepares you for a very different kind of expected career, whereas purely CA they expect expertise from you on income tax, on GST, on your Ind AS. They expect expertise from you on everything. Here the expectation is not expertise. Expectation is you are able to work in a organization well, you have an understanding of everything, you actually are a jack of a lot of things. We choose you, or we rather trust you to figure out which one you want to master. So they prepare you across all topics or all subjects, and then allow you to master over what you want to make your career in. Right? I hope I have given an answer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you have given an answer. So, जो question था अपना, उसका last part था, what candidate experience as they pass through the levels. So,
So a candidate experience, right? So I'll tell you one thing. क्या होता है ना, the level 1, lot of people who do either BCom, BBA or CA, for them, your FR, or rather accounting, is very easy. Okay, some basic concepts of financial management, basic concepts of portfolio management, basic concepts of derivatives, they're all easy. So they tend to take a lot of things casual in the first attempt. And first attempt, it doesn't matter so much. If you're already a CA, these topics at least you'll be able to easily cover. So that you'll be able to finish. But what happens is CFA Institute is very, very clear on something called ethics. And their ethics are quite a few of their ethics questions are googly balls. So they ask, and ethics has a very significant weightage across all 3 levels. So ethics questions are very twisted. You can't just randomly walk into the exam hall with 5 days preparation, 10 days preparation and expect that you will understand everything and you'll be able to answer. So whether you're a BCom student or probably even an engineering background student or a CA already pursuing CA or finished CA, you still have to study this subject called ethics, and of course other topics also. So level 1, typically the pass percentage is also low. If you notice, I mentioned that level 1 pass percentage is roughly around 40, level 2 increases to 44, 45, level 3 is more around 50s, 49, 50 kind of a thing. The reason is also that level 1 people tend to be slightly overconfident, and the thing about CFA exam, right? CFA exam, you're tested on absolute marks, that is, there is no relative grading, there is no minimum passing. They don't tell you what is the minimum pass mark. But if you look at the results of a lot of people, you understand you have to get 70% questions right for you to pass. This is not a institute announced norm. It is more like based on what has happened in the past. If you get approximately 70% of your questions right across all topics and on an overall basis, most likely you will pass. This is an understanding. So that is something new to a lot of people. So what tends to happen is, first time when you write an exam, whether as a undergraduate student or an already qualified professional, getting 70% right puts some stress on you, right? So and with people think that नहीं हो जाएगा, मैंने बहुत पढ़ लिया, हो जाएगा, CA कर लिया, रात में I've studied so much, this is easy and all that. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay, I know a lot of people who don't clear level 1 because of this overconfidence. As you move from level 1 to level 2, this whole, you start understanding, arey nahi boss, this is thoda, it is slightly tougher. It is not as easy as I initially thought to be. And you're also in a job, or you're working somewhere, or you have some other stuff going on in life. So you realize that you have to put in more effort. So from level, if you honestly ask me, level 1 is not tough from a subject perspective. It is tough from an attitude perspective. Level 2 and level 3 are actually much tougher. In fact, if you genuinely ask me, level 3 is tougher, but that has a very high pass percentage compared to level 1 and level 2, specifically because candidate is already motivated by the time he or she reaches there. That is first. And also they have actually, you have a lot of filtering happening at level 1 and level 2, right? You have good, the quality of the candidates also improves as they move beyond level 1 and level 2. From a pure subject perspective and toughness perspective, I would rate level 2 to be, slightly tougher than level 1, and level 3 to be slightly equivalent to level 2, or probably slightly bit more tougher than level 2. Again, this is my individual perspective. Different people have different opinions. A lot of people think that level 2 is the toughest. There are a lot of people who think that level 3 is toughest. So it depends on people, but I think they both are tougher than actually level 1, even though the pass percentages indicate otherwise.
Okay, so that was a very good insight. Let's talk about scholarship. CFA बहुत ही I would say costly है when it comes to Indian students. I would ask you कि scholarship का कैसा scheme रहता है उनका, and I would like to talk to you about essay, कि जो वो लोग essay लिखने को बोलते हैं, what things should be included in that.
Sure. So first thing is, see, I would slightly tend to disagree with the cost of the course because, see, I'll tell you what is the overall cost of the course. Let's assume that you don't get any scholarship. Let's assume that you take coaching for all 3 levels. The overall cost of the course is roughly about 4.5 to 5 lakhs in rupee terms over a 2 year or 2.5 year period. Okay, 4.5 to 5 lakhs over a 2.5 year period. Now, if you look at any good MBA, B school and all, they're all even more expensive than this. There are some B schools, like my alma mater is about 35-40 lakhs, okay, ISB. IIMs, most of them are 10 lakhs plus, but they are full-time courses. This is a course that you study on your own and you basically give exams. So that 4.5 to 5 lakhs is the broad range if you don't get any scholarship. Okay. Now, if you get scholarship, and typically people get scholarships for level 1, level 2 and level 3 also you can apply, nobody is stopping you, but very unlikely that you will get a scholarship in level 3. Level 2 maybe हो सकता है scholarship मिल जाए आपको, but level 3 getting scholarship is very unlikely. The simple reason is they've already prepared you for level 1 and level 2 and you are capable enough to get a job. Okay, so after finishing level 2, you say that, I am still in a financially poor state or something like that. I'm just giving an example. And ask for a scholarship, it most likely is likely to get rejected because you are an employable product by the time you finish level 2. Okay, that is first aspect. Now coming to scholarships, there are varieties of scholarship. Now scholarship is, first you have something called as access scholarship, then you have student scholarship, you have women's scholarship. Yeah, and scholarships are also a variety of, there are 4 or 5 types. One, you have something called as access scholarship, then you have something called as student scholarship, then you have something called as women's scholarship, then you have something which is, professor scholarships. There are varieties of ways in that, right? Varieties of ways in that. Now, what happens is, if you look at, access scholarship, which basically is what most of the students apply for, you basically get a significant portion of the exam fee waived. Right, exam fee is, again, you have 2 kinds of registration, early registration and standard registration. Standard registration is 3 to 4 months before the exam, early registration is 6 to 7 months before the exam. And now early registration is about $940 odd, and standard registration is about $1,290, right? So this $1,290 or this $940, whatever is there, right? your exam fee, if you get this access scholarship, is reduced to $300. So 940, whatever you're looking, is reduced to $300 if you get the access scholarship. And when you're writing level 1, there is also a registration fee which is of $350. So that is also completely waived off. So you are charged only $300 for level 1 if you were to get this access scholarship, right? Then you have something called a student scholarship. This is basically for students who are, who are currently in some specified colleges like IIMs, Delhi University, then I think NMIMS is there. There are a bunch of colleges which are accredited where some portion of their curriculum matches the CFA level 1 curriculum. So those colleges and universities and MBA colleges, their students, if they apply for CFA while they are studying in that college, they get that student scholarship. Then you also have women's scholarship. So women candidates can apply. So you can also apply for more than one scholarship at a time. Okay, so that is also permitted. Now the thing is about scholarship, right? The institute, I have spoken to the institute personnel in India here, and my understanding is that they want to encourage more undergraduate students to write or rather take up CFA. So the concentration of the CFA institute when awarding scholarships is mostly leaning towards people who are pursuing undergraduation, right, rather than people who already have finished undergraduation or working somewhere or already are professionals and so on and so forth. But having said that, nobody is barring you from applying, and there is no thing that nahi aayega. आ सकता है आप, even if you have completed your CA or doing your CA and you apply for a scholarship, आपको आ सकता है scholarship. But their preference or their they are pakshapati towards our undergraduate students. That is first. Second thing is how many people get the scholarship. It varies. In India, whatever I have heard is roughly about 25 to 30% of the people who apply for scholarships get the scholarship. So everybody does not get it, 20 to 30% broadly get it. But by the way, last time in Jan cycle of scholarships, Jan 24 to Feb 24 scholarship cycle, very few people got. Again, we don't know how it works, so because it is their choice to award scholarship. Right, so you have two scholarship cycles. One is in Jan and Feb, other one is in September and October. For the Jan-Feb cycle, the scholarship results come out by March, and for the September-October cycle, the results come out by for the September-October cycle, the results come out by December. So this is broadly how it works. Now, was there any part of the question that I missed, or is there anything else? I have answered this question in
एसए रिक्वायरमेंट है ना एक
एसए हाँ जी. तो एसए ना दो एसए लिखने होते हैं. सो टिल प्रीवियस ईयर आई थिंक टिल बिफोर September 23 इट वाज ओनली वन एसए, बट आई थिंक फ्रॉम September 23 दे चेंज्ड इट. नाउ they want you to write two essays. There is basically a personal statement, or why do you think you deserve the scholarship, right? Or how do you, how will this scholarship help you further your career? How will this help you in making your career? So basically, there are two kinds of essay questions that are asked. You have to write, give a response in 250 words, where you actually explain. You talk about what your financial requirements are, why you think you deserve the scholarship because of, some financial requirement, or financial need that you have, or some kind of your exceptional academic performance since childhood, or where you're working with local community, or where you're working with an NGO, or whatever your career aim is, how this will help you in meeting your career aims, goals, and so on and so forth. So you have to basically explain why you deserve this scholarship and how this scholarship will help you further your career aims. So all these have to be put in mind, and they have to be written in 250 words. Now, coming from most of us, in India, right, when we apply for scholarship, not everybody who's, is well off. So a lot of us will have some, academic performance to highlight, some economic need that we have to highlight. So there are a variety of things that we can choose to highlight. But please note, it has to be in 250 words. That's a very tough call. And a lot of students end up going to ChatGPT. I humbly request, whoever are the listeners of this podcast, please don't do this ChatGPT thing. They are trying to understand your essence of what you're trying to write. Okay, you may go to ChatGPT for some inspiration, but don't copy paste what ChatGPT generates, because they also know how ChatGPT works. They also screen for all of that. And if it looks too artificial, you'll lose your chance for scholarship. Genuinely write from heart. थोड़े some sentence, एक sentence इधर से, एक sentence उधर से. Try and see if ChatGPT gives you a better structure of the sentence, or good words and all. But don't do wholesale copying कि वहाँ से उठाया यहाँ चेप दिया. Please, humbly, please don't do that, because there also, other side also, there are smart people sitting there. Okay, so this is my take on scholarships and how you should probably try and approach.
Okay. That was actually a very detailed discussion, I would say. Thank you very much for that.
Sure, no problem.
नेक्स्ट वी वुड मूव टू जॉब एंड पैकेजेस कि एज अ सीएफए अगर कोई अंडरग्रेड है जिसने सीएफए ही किया है खाली, तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ जॉब्स विल ही बी एक्सपेक्टेड टू गेट एंड व्हाट आर द मिनिमम पैकेजेस टू स्टार्ट एंड कहाँ तक जा सकता है? ऐसे तो लिमिट नहीं है बट कहाँ तक जा सकता है?
श्योर श्योर अजी, तो एक क्या होगा ना, सो देर इज वन थिंग विच इज पॉपुलर मिथ, ओके, एंड देन देर इज वन थिंग रियलिटी. Okay, there are always again people who are on both extremes. Some people say कि CFA कर लोगे तो आसमान छू जाओगे. Some people say कि नहीं नहीं CFA कुछ नहीं है. Reality is somewhere in between. The reason why I say this is, just by doing a degree, if somebody believes that they will get a phenomenal salary, I think they are mistaken. Any degree for that matter, even if you study in IIT or if you study in IIM or if you do CA, just by becoming a CA you will get a phenomenal package. I don't think that is a fair assumption to make. A lot depends on the candidate. A lot depends on the company that you are approaching or the kind of roles that you are looking, kind of jobs you are looking. There are a variety of factors. But broadly, people can one can state certain things with analysis of data that is available. See, CFA level 1, if you pass, right, let's say you are already an undergraduate, you are pursuing undergraduation, you are in second year of BCom BBA and you have finished CFA level 1. Please don't expect any job for level 1 when you are already in undergraduation. Level 1 complete and undergraduation pursuing is a signaling mechanism to your potential employer after you finish your BCom, saying that, dekho boss, I finished level 1 along with my undergrad. So I am very interested in finance. Right, so that is a signaling mechanism. And as a level 1 candidate, if you, let's say you finish only level 1 and you've just finished BCom, please don't expect a fancy job. You will get a 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, broadly in that range kind of job only. You will get an analyst role only. Okay, just by finishing level 1, please don't expect something fancy to happen. And when I say, BCom, BBA, please don't think of top colleges in India like, let's say, SRCC or Hindu or, don't think of colleges like that. Think of a normal, outside top 10. Let's say you're from a, Mumbai or Delhi, whichever place, right? You're outside top 10 college. And you finish your BCom and you finish level 1, then your salary package will be 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, that kind of range only, right? Because you have just started CFA, you have not finished anything. But let's say you have finished level 2 also, along with your undergrad, or post undergrad you finish level 2. The salary package goes up. It goes up anywhere north of 7 lakhs, it goes up from 7 to 10 lakhs. The reason is very simple. Just a qualification is not a metric for your ability to understand and do real world work. Okay, you still need to prove that you know the subject. You need to prove that you can work well. You don't have any experience, real life working experience. So as an inexperienced candidate who has just finished level 2, please keep your expectations in a certain kind of on a normal level where you are expecting between 7 to 10 lakhs. Okay, but let us say you have finished BCom and you have finished also CFA level 3 immediately after BCom, because technically, right, you can finish, let's say you finish your BCom by March or April a year. In that year, by October, November, you can actually finish even level 3. Okay, technically, if you finish level 1 in year 2 of BCom, level 2 in year 3 of BCom, you can finish level 3 in within 6 months after finishing your BCom. Okay, if you are such kind of a candidate, then your salary package can be north of 9-10 lakhs. Why? Because you have demonstrated that you have finished a full, thorough, comprehensive 3-level course, which is fairly tough. You have finished 2 levels during BCom, 1 level after BCom, and you finished it very quickly. You have finished all 3 levels in the first attempt. It shows that you have exceptional character, right? You are bright academically, you're willing to work hard and all of that. So at that point of time, your salary packages start going up. Now, if anything after this, right, let's say you're already pursuing a job somewhere for 2-3 years, or you're doing an MBA and then doing CFA like what I did, or you finished your CA and then you're doing a CFA. Those are all cases where your CFA qualification alone will not get you that, suddenly a big significant career, significant pay jump if you stay in the same organization. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're working in some bank, right? Just because you finish CFA, don't expect that tomorrow morning they'll give you 2 levels promotion. Nahi hoga. Right? And when I say bank, I'm referring to a commercial bank. Let us say on the contrary, you are working in a mutual fund. You are a CA, you are working in a mutual fund or some investment banking this place, or some kind of equity research profession where you are with a broker or something like that, institutional equities you are working. There you finish CFA. The reward that you get for finishing CFA is not in the immediate year. You will get the reward over a 2-3 year period. They will treat you differently. They will give you more opportunities. You will also be able to contribute more. Rather than they giving you something, you will actually be able to contribute more because you have finished all 3 levels of CFA and you have gained a lot of knowledge about financial markets. So the reward that you get from completing CFA when you are already pursuing a job, especially in the financial market side, is not immediate and instant, but rather gradual over a 2 to 3 year period where you are demonstrating your knowledge and then actually getting something in return. Rather than just एक degree आ गया, चलो मैंने दिखा लिया, मुझे like कभी खुशी कभी गम में जया बच्चन ताली लेके आके टीका लगा दिया, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. रियल लाइफ में कहीं नहीं होता है. Okay, रियल लाइफ में it takes time, 2 to 3 years time. But CFA, if you finish level 1, level 2 along with your undergrad, it gives you a solid launch pad. Okay, it gives you a decent salary, but solid launch pad. And after 4 years or 5 years of completing your CFA, getting charter and all, your salary packages are north of 15-16 lakhs anyway. So that is not a concern at all. Right. So this is a broad summary on what kind of salaries or packages that you can expect across various levels of CFA.
Okay, that's a good one. I would like to ask you one question that there are people from whom I have heard, I don't know if it's that verified or not. Is there any internship requirement from CFA?
No, there is no internship requirement per se. What happens is, when you finish 3 levels of exam, you are after you finish all 3 levels and you pass the 3rd level of exam of CFA, you are called as a CFA level 3 pass. You do not get the designation called CFA, or you cannot use designation as a suffix after your name. You can use it as a suffix after your name, like Prashant Kotari CFA, Sriram Somayajula CFA. We can use that suffix of CFA after our name only after we pass these 3 levels of exams, and also tell them that I have a work experience in financial markets or in areas that are related to finance or in areas that are where what I have learned in CFA. In those areas, I have worked for 3 years continuous with 4,000 hours of work experience. Then they call you a CFA charter holder. Till then, you are not a charter holder, but you are a member. Or you are a CFA level 3 pass. Let me put it that way. You are a CFA level 3 pass. You get the charter only after you demonstrate work experience of working in relevant area for a period of 3 years. And also you have to provide some references of couple of existing charter holders, and then they give you the CFA charter. Then you basically get this charter, then you're authorized, you're eligible, you have a right to use the suffix CFA after your name, right? So there is no internship, but you are eligible, there is this whole thing called charter which you get only after you demonstrate certain work experience.
I think we have covered all the angles that can be covered.
Sure.
So last question which I would like to ask you is, besides CFA, what other courses do you think people can do who want to enter the finance industry and that are affordable and are also widely accepted?
Sure. So there are, see, this question again, as I said, comes back, पीछे वही आता है कि आपको क्या करना है लाइफ में. So if you want to become somebody in financial markets, especially where you want to work mostly on equity or debt side, CFA is the thing. Even when you do VC or PE or investment banking, you largely do equity, right? Or some amount of debt related work is there. Both the cases, CFA is the qualification. But let's say you want to pursue something purely on risk management. Let's say you want to work just imagine you're working in Citibank or HSBC or Stancy in India, in their Mumbai office, where you are managing their risk, right? You have a lot of assets, you have a lot of liabilities, you are basically managing the risk of the bank's asset book, and what all they have, all their entire balance sheet, you are managing the risk. If you want to do that, CFA gives you certain grounding for that. But FRM is a course, Financial Risk Manager, which is done by a similar institute called GARP, G-A-R-P. That course gives you, teaches you a lot more. That course enables you to actually make a career specifically in those risk management areas, right? That is one. Then there is one more course, and this course is not as, it has two parts again, FRM, and it is probably will cost you about, half of what it costs you probably to do CFA, right? That is first aspect. Second course that I have is if you want to become a trader, especially you want to take up trading, there is a new institute, I think it's called CFT. They have come up. That is one thing that you can explore, right, where you want to become a day trader or algorithmic trader or want to do trading basically, right? That is one. Then third is there are a lot of people who want to become financial planners, right? You should, for being a financial planner, in fact, CFA teaches you a lot about your how investment philosophy of a portfolio, investment philosophy that you adopt towards a portfolio for a large firm as well as portfolio of an individual. That is definitely taught by CFA. But CFP, which is Certified Financial Planner, is a far easier course and far cheaper course compared to CFA, but it focuses corely on financial planning, and it is largely suited for individuals or small family offices. So that is another course that you can take up, Certified Financial Planner. Now, in addition to that, there are a variety of courses. CFA Institute themselves have a lot of other certifications. Your FRM, that GARP Institute also has other certifications. There are a variety of other courses, right? So you can choose any other courses. I would suggest that people actually explore. Right, the choice of the course, according to me, should come from a point of what I want to do rather than what should I do. Okay, मुझे जिंदगी में क्या करना है, then related to that I will choose the course rather than मैं क्या करूँगा तो मुझे अच्छी नौकरी मिलेगी. I think that should not be the lens of measurement. Simply because people who are doing all these courses are already past the age of 20-21. Okay, you're already in your first job probably, or you're going to join your first job. So you should take a measured thing. You cannot keep accumulating degrees and certifications and all that. कोई email ID नहीं है कि जितने चाहे उतने ले लो. That is not. These are all expensive courses, and they demand a certain amount of effort from you, right? So you should choose what you want to do, because there is no point being confused कि मैं ये भी करूँगा, वो भी करूँगा, वो भी करूँगा. करना क्या है life में? So my suggestion would be get clarity on what you want to do in life, explore variety of things, and then choose a course rather than choosing a course and then trying to make that course work for you, right? So that would be my humble suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Sriram. I
Sure.
think this podcast will help many people in choosing what they can do if they have clarification regarding where they want to enter.
Yeah, and I should thank you. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to be on your podcast. It was wonderful chatting with you, and I definitely hope we get to catch up again in the future.
Sure thing.
ठीक
Thank
है.
you. Goodbye.
Thanks, man. See you. Bye.